Are we on? Hi everybody, it's Willie's American Guitars. So this is kind of cool. We've got a story on the cover of Guitar World magazine. So the March issue, which just came out February 1st, has this story on here, the greatest lost and found guitar story ever told. So this is a long story. I'm going to try to make it short for you, but you can see our old employee Bleem in here. So back in 1990, well wait, let's go way back. Way back. In 1960, Jimmy Page bought a guitar that looked just like this. A 1960 Gibson Les Paul Custom. 3 pickups, Bigsby from the factory, and was the most expensive solid body guitar ever made. And Jimmy Page saw it in a music store, fell in love with it, had to have it, and he had this guitar, well not this one, this is a sample of it, you get it. He had one of these, he had a Dan Electro Electric, and that's all he used as one of the London's top session players from 1962 till 1967 when he joined the Yardbirds. So having had that for all this time, dragging it around, he actually, one of these things, you know, they have a pickup where this switch is this pickup, and then it's these 2 pickups, and then it's these 2 pickups. Now, Jimmy Page, thinking it would be easier to have 3 switches put on. Later in his career, he added a separate switch for each of the pickups so we could turn them on individually or all at the same time. Then he recorded Led Zeppelin 1 and 2. He recorded Led Zeppelin 1 mostly on a Telecaster that he got from Jeff Beck, and he recorded Zeppelin 2 with both guitars. The hit song, their first major hit, was Whole Lotta Love, which was recorded on his beloved guitar. In 1970, they went on their second American tour. They landed here in Minneapolis. Jimmy Page ended a 13-song set in Minneapolis. Playing Whole Lotta Love. He set down the guitar and never saw it again until it ended up in our store in 1993. So in 1993, I took it in, and a guy said, "This is Jimmy Page's guitar, how do you know?" And he kind of vaguely described it, but really didn't know anything about the guitar. He didn't know that it had 3 switches. He didn't notice the serial number on the back, which happened to be the same thing. We called Pete from Pete's Guitars. A lot of you guys know Pete. He passed away in '99, God rest his soul. Pete called a well-known producer who knows Jimmy Page really well, Perry. And Perry had gotten a hold of Jimmy Page, and they said, "It's not our guitar." We don't know exactly why they said that. I suspect it's because it didn't have 3 switches. It just had 1 switch. Perry told me that's not the case. But so in 1993, that was it. It was not Jimmy Page's guitar. For sure. Not his guitar. We don't need it. We're walking away from it. Okay, well, it has the same serial number, but okay, you guys say it's not. So we sold the guitar to Bleem in '93, an employee. And Bleem had it for 23 years, twice as long as Jimmy Page had it. And then in late 2014, Bleem brought it in for repair, and at the encouragement of somebody I know, we took a look under the blacklight and found the holes, and we discovered that indeed it is Jimmy Page's guitar. Almost 30 years passed since that us initially buying it from that guy, and now we discover in 2015 we gave it back to Jimmy Page, and we were told not to tell anybody the story because Jimmy Page is working on a book, and he's got the book out. So now that Jimmy Page has the book out, there's a great story in Vintage Guitar World, and there's a great story in Guitar World, Vintage Guitar Magazine, our favorite magazine. This is a really well-written story. I just got this magazine and I haven't written it, but everybody seems really nice from Guitar World Magazine. We also talked to Rolling Stone Magazine. They don't want to talk about people, little peons like us here in the Midwest. It's funny, some of the magazine writers, John Bream also wrote the story here in town. You all know John Bream. We love John Bream. But there is some of the magazines were like, well, who refinished it in Minnesota? Like, what do you mean? Well, there can't be anybody that would know how to refinish a guitar in Minnesota. Oi, I got to tell you, living in a flyover state like this, people forget that Gibson was made in Kalamazoo, Michigan by people from the Midwest. But if you talk sometimes to people from New York or LA, you get this like, oh, why would anybody go there? It's cold. You guys don't have anybody that could refinish the guitar. So it was a lot of consternation on our part. But there is this out. It's out now. Y'all want to see it. It's kind of a cool story. As a matter of fact, I'll go as far as to say it's one of the coolest vintage guitar stories ever. Jimmy Page loved his guitar. It was the only one of 2 guitars he owned for like 7, 8 years, and he was Jimmy Page. And then it comes up, we find it, they say no, we say 23 years later, and they go, oh, you must be right. Huh. You guys from the Midwest, how about that after all? Y'all go look at this. This is cool. It's out. It's a great vintage guitar story. I'll tell you more, but it would take too long, and this will have it covered. Or look back at this Jimmy Page cover on Vintage Guitar Magazine, or just Google us and you'll read John Bream's story, which is another story. And for that, on that, I gotta go. But go get the magazine. Go, talk about this. It's cool. It's a great vintage story. All right, on that note, I gotta go.